Welcome, everybody, to the Lace Up Podcast. This is episode 2. I'm your host, Joe Lawler. I got my co-host over here,
Devin Donovan.
What's up, Dev? We got a special guest today for you. An old friend of mine, a friend of ours, Shawn Savini. He is a Medford kid. I'm going to let him tell his story. He's going to tell you guys his story. I'm excited to hear it. He has a story of, tragedy, perseverance, struggle, and ultimately triumph, But I'm going to let him share, and I'm looking forward to it. I know Devin is as well. We're honored to have him. So with that, Dev, you want to take over, brother?
Yeah, I'll take over. Sean, happy to have you, bro.
Thanks, buddy. Glad to be here.
Yeah,
Glad to be here.
Yeah, Medford, Mass, in the house. What was, I don't want it to be like cliche, but, if you want to talk about, your childhood and, just growing up, I know, just let it rip. Let it rip.
You got it, man. All right, yeah. So I grew up in Medford. Childhood was great, man. Honestly, I got no complaints about that. I played sports. I played hockey, baseball, lacrosse. I was big into that stuff. As far as people say like addiction in the family. Like I really didn't have any of that, dude. Like I had a hardworking father. My mother was a fucking teacher. Can I swear?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
all
so
right. I swear a lot, so.
Oh, yeah, buddy. Come on, everything goes.
We're being
You know what time it is.
All right. I drop a lot of F-bombs.
Yeah.
But, my father was a hardworking guy. My mother was a hardworking mother. She, was that mother that took us, my father was always working, so my mother was that lady that, took us to all the hockey practices and, my mother was carrying my fucking hockey bag, for Christ's sake,
Italian mothers.
Yeah, tying my skate. She's actually Irish.
Oh,
Irish.
yeah?
My father's
That's even-
Italian.
yeah.
My mother's Irish. Yeah.
shit.
So, but yeah, again, no complaints. I don't have anything where I can say where addiction was in my family. Yeah, my grandfather was an alcoholic, so I can say that addiction was in my family. But as far as in my immediate everyday family, at my home, there wasn't any alcoholism or drug addiction. So yeah, honestly, it went on like that for a while, man, and then life was good. I had dreams, I had ambitions, I had goals, I had all these things I wanted to do. And it just, I got hurt in hockey practice one day, man, and fucking blew out my knee. I tore 2 ligaments in my knee, and fucking I got prescribed Endo 60 tools, man.
Wow.
And I drank.
That's a blast from the past.
Yeah, I remember the name Endo 602s, man.
Yeah.
I
On the
remember
bike it in the Watson 3.
543s. Yeah, man. And that's where it kind of set off for me because I smoked weed a little bit, dude. It made me paranoid. I wasn't fucking really.
Same, yeah.
Yeah, I just wasn't a big fan. I drink on the weekends like we all did in the fucking in the woods with the keg and the potty balls and shit.
Yeah.
I did that too. I got the effect. I like the feeling, but I'd throw up and it just I feel like shit in the morning. But when I took these endos, man, I was fucking flying around. I remember the halls of Medford High, all my crutches just jamboozled, and it was it was just that was it for me. But for me, it was the perfect storm because we talked about earlier, Joe. It was this was in the late '90s, dude.
Yes.
And I got one of my buddies came to me one day. And this is after the endos were gone and stuff, and I was fucking obsessing about it. But it was the perfect storm, like I said, because this kid came to me and was like, "Hey, try one of these." It was an OC fucking 20.
Yep.
I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what an OC was. I didn't know anything. I just knew about my endos. And I go, "What is this?" And he just described it as a fucking super perk. I go, super perk?
He wasn't lying.
No, he wasn't
that's
lying.
a fact.
A 20 milligram, because I was eating the 5 milligrams.
Yeah.
This is a 20 milligram perk. And I'm like,
Feel 4 times better.
I was like, fucking awesome. Let's give it a whirl. And honestly, from that point on, it was game time for me, man. I didn't know about drug addiction. I didn't know about being sick. I didn't know about any of that shit, dude. You know what I mean? We had the DARE program when I was a kid, but it was just, I don't know. I didn't absolve anything. I didn't absorb anything.
Yeah.
Well, and so.
Well, at the time as well, and not to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
We talk about the 90s and, Eddie McGrath describes it. He said it one day. And
Shout out to Eddie McGrath.
Yeah, shout out Eddie.
Rock and recovery, baby.
We're going to get him on there.
Yeah, we are.
He's a little camera shy, but we'll get him on.
Yeah.
And he said, that he said the '90s was the Wild West, and I was thinking to myself when you were talking about that, and the first thing that came to my mind was like the calm before the storm. You know, um, we don't know, and certainly, I don't think any one of us would have signed up for what was about to happen. So can you touch on that, because I know that that's kind of where you were segueing into.
And that's what it was. Like you said it, you couldn't have said it any better, dude. The perfect storm, okay? Because the fact of the matter is, at this point in time, when I found this super perk, it was just game time for me. Because not only was it accessible for me, that I had friends was like, "Do you want to start selling these? Here's 100 of them," And it was like, okay. And
It's
then
a no-brainer.
no brainer.
Absolutely.
And it was like, all right,
Absolutely.
well, I'll try that out. Like, you know what I mean? And like, listen. I tried it out. I was a terrible drug dealer.
Yeah.
Honestly,
We all
like,
were.
I'm going to be real. I was a terrible drug
Yeah.
dealer. I did 90% of my product.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it was like, that's just how it went for me. But I did also have friends that were fucking, crushing it as
Right.
far as selling them.
Yep.
I just was terrible at it. But, that's just what it was for me. Because one is too many, thousands never enough type thing. Like, I had, 100 of them. Like, at the time, I was doing at my, as the progression happens, like, I was doing 6 a day,
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 80s a day.
Yeah.
I remember I had to wake up in the morning and I had 2 lines of 80s on a plate, and I would wake up before I even put my foot on before I even got vertical. I fucking sniffed 2 80s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what like my life was like.
Yep.
And but sure as shit though, like over time, like it just went on like that. And like, yeah, I was doing well. Like I still was like fucking, thinking I was, at this time I remember I had the fucking big diamonds in. I had the fucking blowout like Pauly D.
Yeah, that's it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tanned
That's
up,
the thing, man.
DTL, like going to the gym,
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
going to the Roxy and the Avalon,
Gym,
and
laundry.
doing the venues.
I swear I did. You know what? It's funny too, because I love
Yeah.
Medford. I like the bling. I like the Mr. T,
Yeah.
Mr. T starter kid.
Yeah, of course.
And I must have a little Italian in me. I don't know. I got the hair. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
no, you do. You do, absolutely.
But you talk about you picked up a habit right away. You kind of you whether you were aware of it or not. I feel like at the time, why would any one of us have thought any different than like, if we were even to think about it, that it was going to be sustainable, right? Because it was flooded. It was flooded,
Yeah.
and if you could do that, it was like it's almost like living like a rock star, like if you could manage that your whole life, it's like God bless you, but like that wasn't the reality,
Right. No, not the reality at all. And then that's just what happened to me. It was like, this went on, this habit was worse. And like, we talked about this earlier, Joe, like I was that guy too. Like, I don't do fucking heroin. I don't
Right.
touch that shit.
Yeah, who does that? Yeah.
Those people are fucking losers. Like I just, I sniff my 80s. Like
Yeah.
that's all I do. I'm good.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened to me. Like my first time, like getting drug sick. I didn't, and this is how naive I was, dude. I didn't even know. Like, I thought I had the fucking flu,
Absolutely,
dude.
yeah.
And one of my buddies was like, dude, you've been doing 80s for a few months now, dude,
Yeah.
every day. What are you talking
Yeah.
about? And
What
I'm
do you
like,
mean? That wasn't on the label.
No, I didn't say that. Like, and that's just what it was, because,
Yeah.
this stuff did for me, like, it gave me that euphoria, like and I just loved it,
You ran with it.
I just ran with that euphoria, like with the with every aspect, man.
Yeah.
With the ladies, dude, I'd be in the sack with a woman for like an hour, like
Yeah.
stand, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I'm
yeah.
telling you, like I'm being real, like that was like on my mind
Well,
too.
you
like,
feel like
Superman, dude.
you know?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
Superman.
It checked every box for us,
Exactly, and
It
that's
checked every box.
why it's like I crave these things. But when I got this first drug sick, my friend said that to me, and then obviously like, I did the 80, and I was like, holy shit, like I had no idea about fucking like addiction and like all these things. I honestly like I don't know if it was just like because by this time too, Joe, like hockey was out the window.
Right.
I got in an argument with my coach and I quit.
Right.
I stopped playing baseball. I stopped playing lacrosse. I just stopped it all. Okay.
Well, even like they talk about in the program, that we work is, how people have reservations, and at the time, in hindsight, if you think about it, it's like, hockey, like it was our world, like sports. Ronnie Doe says from sports to courts, and it's like it almost happened like it was like overnight. It's like, innocence, and then all of a sudden, now I'm on the corner and I'm, like I said, I thought I was Al Capone. I found out I was alcoholic. You know,
Yeah.
little did we know. But
Well, that's the funny thing too. Is like I was born in '98, guys. So like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here like my father's story is your guys' story, and you knew my father.
Yep.
I never did an OC, dude. I started with the Perk 30s, right? And sports were a huge thing for me. Basketball, hockey, football. Started with the Perk 30s. Didn't think I had a problem. Addiction was in my family, so I had a little more of like an idea, but I never thought I'd do heroin, ever. And like, fast forward, like around like 20, I was like 18 years old. Like I only failed to heroin and detox twice. You know what I mean? Like after that, it was fentanyl, which is like crazy. You know what I mean? Like heroin wasn't even like a thing for me. You know what I mean? I'm not like that much younger than you guys. You know what I mean? It's crazy how times change. It really is.
and this is just, obviously, some are sicker than others, but, and I think that, we can laugh, about certain things, and we certainly cried enough, so if I wasn't laughing, I'd be crying, like we say, but, I think about the generations and whatnot. It's like, I'd say to you guys, it's like, I almost feel for you a little bit, where it's like, at least we got to experience, like, like I say, like I drank a beer, I smoked a joint, I popped a pill, I did a line, like, I experimented, right? And like you said, then there's like the taboo, like, heroin, crack, like, like, and right away, basically like, comparing or like, putting one over there and saying like, all right, well, I'm not doing that and justifying, but I think of you guys and I'm like, man, these kids don't have a clue. They're fucking getting high off shit out of the bathroom sink. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
You missed the fucking boat, Dev.
Yeah, no,
but you're an old soul,
dude. I'll never. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that, Joe. I'm an old soul, but I'll never forget. I was at Stoneham Young People, and Jammer was celebrating, and OC's big part of his story, another Medford kid, and I was like, I raised my hand, and I was like, I was probably a little sick when I said this, and I still am sick, but like I raised my hand and was like, I grew up in the wrong time, bro. You know what I mean? Like I never did an OC, dude.
So I was just thinking of Jammer, and I'm like, that back in the day, like that's a great name to have when he was fucking Jammer. He was the man. You know who he was, dude. Everyone's feeling good.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Shawn, if you want to like get into, fucking, I don't know, like your first, when the seed was planted, when you first started like going into,
when you started lacing up, baby.
Yeah, when you started lacing up and trying to get sober.
Yeah. So honestly, my first detox was 20, okay? So from 20 to 36, I'm going to tell you, I was sectioned 5 times. I went to fucking, because this is like back in the day, mind you, okay? So we didn't have what we have now.
Yeah.
I had to go to the hospital, and I had to say I was suicidal for them to fucking keep me there.
You got to section yourself.
Basically, like I had to sit there, and then like 9 times out of 10, I had to go to a psych ward.
Yeah.
I've been to Westwood Lodge. I've been to Arbor Hospital. And these are psych wards. Like they have a padded room where they fucking hit you up with Thorazine and shit.
One floor of the Ubers
to detox.
No, there was no. My mom had to drive me, and it was like this is where I was at this point of like I was going to detox so much. Like my mother was like knew that like I wasn't fucking going to detox unless I got $50 to get high, and this is where it led to for me because like. I went from obviously the progression. I went from oxys to heroin, okay? Yeah. And I remember my first time doing heroin was over the fucking House of Pain tattoo shop in Everett on Ferry Street. This kid had the fucking brown lines on a plate. And I was sick as a dog. And he's like, dude, it's the same thing. It's stronger. I'm like, all right. And then like it was off and running for me.
Stronger and cheaper.
Stronger, cheaper. But, in all reality, you're spending every fucking dime you got on it anyways. So it's like, And then I was shooting it within a week because I was dating some girl. That's all she did, and she fucking put water on the whole thing. And
it's never enough.
Yeah.
And then, but like Joe said too, this was like when it was heroin, dude. Like you got high and you were high. You weren't like fucking. You got high and you woke up to a fucking them Narcaning.
Right? Yeah, of course.
And like that's where it led for me, and it was like, Like fast forward, I mean, like I've been to Danvers Cab 100 times, Plymouth High Point, fucking NorCap. I've been to Thayer, CHL, Worcester, AdCare, like you name it, dude. I've been there. All the holdings, Tewksbury Holding, and like I was either AMA and getting kicked out or whatever, because like I was just you know, like you were saying about Chris, like just miserable being there,
Yeah,
dude. Because in like early sobriety, I'm fucking miserable.
Of course.
You know what I mean? But it's like for me now, and like I'll get into like what I do now, but like it's like everyone's gonna feel like shit, dude. You're not gonna feel like $1 million, dude, out of detox in a program, day 1, day 2, day 3, a week, 2 weeks. Like you've been shooting heroin for fucking how many years, dude?
Yeah.
Do you really think you're gonna do a week in detox and you're gonna be fucking perfect and you're ready to go home?
Right.
Like, let's be real, dude. Like, what I had to do, and this was me. 16 years, let's call it, in programming, in fucking detox, holdings, halfway houses. I've been Section 35 5 times. You know what I mean? So it's like my mother was like all like trying to get me, you know, all she did was want to get me sober. And like for me, you know, started shooting heroin. And it's like, you know, I skipped over this. Like I'm a middle child of 3 boys. So like, you know, we all played hockey. We all did all the sports. And like their story is the same as mine, you know. And where it comes to this, it's like, you know, we all started shooting heroin. All of my younger brothers started shooting heroin. My younger brother's the one that showed me how to shoot heroin. You know what I mean? Because I was shooting it anyways. Like I'm not blaming him. I'm not like I was doing it anyways. And my older brother shot heroin. And this was all same thing, like the oxys. We all started with that, and it was that was like, you know, game time. And you know, I had a vicious overdose where my family had to rip down the bathroom door, and like I basically died. Like my kidneys were shutting down, and like I woke up in Lawrence Memorial Hospital, and like I called my mother, and I'm like, Ma, I can't remember what I said to her, but she's like, Shawn, you've already called me like 6 times saying the same thing, and I'm like, damn. Dude, my fucking brain's fucking scrambled eggs. And like that scared me.
Those things, I'm sure, to this day, and maybe it will forever. Maybe that's part of our penance. You know, will probably haunt you. You know, I think, you know, your mom and, you know, 3 boys, and, you know, I always say the love of a mother. You know, that unconditional love. You know, Devin talks about it was a New Year's Eve. I was 17.
Yeah.
You know, we started off at a party. You know. We thought we were having fun, you know. We used to go over and grab sheets of acid from like the Grateful Dead, you know. And about 6 or 7 of us. We started a place in the Navy Yard. We all took the acid and made our way down to Newtown. Ended up down Mishawam and Charlestown. And if anyone knows, on the 3rd, you know, if you go up the balcony, it's 3 stories high. And there was a house party, like a flop house. It's, you know, these 2 brothers. They had a party, and it was a, you know, bash, and New Year's Eve, and I remember an older kid had like called my name, and you know, at this point I'm tripping my balls off, and you know, all your senses are heightened, obviously, and I think today, you know, I think of it, you know, I don't believe in coincidence, and at the time, like, it was almost like it was surreal, because now I'm like, everything's like, you know, a third eye, and I'm like, wow, this is like, you know, I'll say yes to anything. He could have asked me anything, and he asked me if I wanted to smoke dust, and I said, and it was like, I don't even know if I answered. I was just, and next thing you know, I'm jumping off a balcony. You know, whether I thought I could fly, whether, you know, I don't know what I thought. And they came down. I think that the only thing that saved me was they talk about like a drunk driver, how their body is limp, you know, and that's, you know, it was intense, right? And I was just so out of it. So needless to say, the dust high was gone, you know, from the adrenaline, but I was still, you know, I think it kicked in the acid, and they brought me back upstairs. I was just a nuisance, and the kid, you know, wanted me out of the house because I was, you know, I thought, I'm hearing my name, Joel. Of course, I just jumped on the balcony, you know.
3 stories up.
And they brought me, they brought me. I used to think, you know, like 9 lives, you know, and I remember my friend brought me home, and, you know, going back to what I was saying, like the love of a mother, and, you know, what we put them through, you know, and she rubbing alcohol on my legs all night while I probably like tortured her, you know, saying crazy shit. And you know, I was thinking, oh, your mom, you know, my heart goes out to her or whatever, but the strength there, you know, you can, you know, I'm sure I know she is, you know, without knowing it. It's like, you know, you're honoring every day. I'd like you to get into your brothers and whatnot, you know. I know you were going to, but I just felt like obligated to you know, give a shout out to your mom, you know.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And like you know, brought me back as far as when you were talking about the dust, because me and my brother used to smoke dust, and we used to call it putting the moon boots on. And I'd walk. At one time, it was for like 4 hours. I was in my house walking on my knees. I thought from here down was gone. And I was having conversations with my fucking dog, dude. Thinking my dog was talking to me.
He probably was.
I'm telling you. I swear to God, I couldn't. And then I got up, and then I remember going outside, and I couldn't step over the curb. I couldn't step from to the sidewalk to the street. Wow. I was like trying to, I don't know. I can't explain it. Maybe you know what I mean. When you're dusted, it's like,
And this funny, me and Devin talk about it in this certain, we'd call them back in the day. I mean, I guess it still applies, but like a dust mop, right? And like, I think about, in my experience, like, they say like drug of choice, or like, it's like the truth. The reality is anything that will get me outside of myself, right? It doesn't even have to be a substance, right? Anything that will, alter my mood, right? Because as a with that addictive personality, and like call it whatever you want to label yourself, whatever you're okay with, but just call it what it is. And to get outside of yourself, I think of that, and I'm like, the people that love dust the most is like, I'm sure in like serious internal pain, and like, and living, consumed with fear, and like, because at the end of the day, like I say, I tell Devin this, and this is my truth, but and it's like it allows you, to heal, and then I'd like you to get into that. That's what we're about, the recovery aspect.
Right.
But I'm a little boy inside. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, cause it stunted me. I'm sure trauma, which we all experience, and now I find my solution, which is a drink or a drug. And I run with that until the wheels fall off.
For a while, a drink or a drug was the solution. You know what I mean? Like, of course, and like, it's funny. You say you said it. Like, in the beginning of my using, like when I was early on, like with, just starting out to experiment with heroin and fentanyl, like I ended up in Danvers Cab, CHL. CHL was my first spot. That's where I was when I got the phone call from my Aunt Katie that my father died. You know what I mean? I was literally in CHL. They let me to go out to go to the funeral or whatever. But that was 2016, dude. It's crazy. That was almost 10 years ago.
I know.
It's fucking nuts, dude. And like, shortly after, your brother and, both your brothers. And Joe said, like, the perfect storm, right? Because, like, I know you were very, very close with Joey and Nick.
Yeah.
And the perfect storm, right? Because, like, you had two brothers similar in age, like, that got high with you. And they were almost ultimately, like, best friends and running partners at the same time. So if you want to, talk about that.
And that's how it went. Like, as far as, like, diving into the, I was, doing the whole shuffle. Like, at this time, it was like us three being addicts. It was like one of us, my brother Nicholas was always going to, like, jail. He went to, like, Billerica and, like, Cambridge jail. Like, he was always, like, because he was more of, like, going into town and fucking robbing North Face and
wild.
shit. Like, he'd do that shit. Boosting. And, like, like, I was more of a...
Gorilla boosting,
he loved the North Face store.
Yeah.
And so that's what it was like, though, But then it was... I remember I was in the Casper house, and I couldn't breathe one day. I'm like, I can't fucking breathe, dude. Like, I was, like, gasping for air. Yep. And I called my mother, and she's like, can you drive here? I was like, I don't think so. She's like, really? Wow. Like, I think I need to go to the hospital. And, like, for me to say I think I got to go to the hospital, like, I've been to the fucking hospital or the fucking dentist
that's the last resort.
in fucking 15 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, I'm not even kidding. Like, because I was always high. I just felt like when you're getting high all the time, you don't get sick. Do you know what I'm saying? You get drug sick, but you don't get, like, the flu. Right. You don't get, like, a fucking cold. Like, you don't get any type of sickness. And, like, I get sober, and I'm like, all right, maybe I'm fucking... So I go there anyways.
Maybe I'm dying.
Yeah. I go there, and they're like, yeah, you're in heart failure. Yeah. I thought I had the flu. I'm like, you're in heart failure. You have endocarditis. Your valves are all fucked up. I'm like, oh, my God.
Yeah. No, I thought I was going to fucking lose my hand in the projects in Southie, and then, like, I get sober, and they're like, we got to pull 2 wisdom teeth. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm out of here. Like a pussy, dude.
Right.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. So I went there. They rushed me to Tufts Medical Center. I went into Tufts Medical Center. I was in there for a month. I had open heart surgery. And you know, for a drug addict, you're like, oh, you're in there for a month, maybe you'll clear out. It's like, nah, man, they gave me fucking Dilaudid. I had a Dilaudid drip. I was juiced the whole time in there.
Oh, yeah.
So like the second I got out,
manipulating them the whole time.
yeah, like you know, granted I had open heart surgery, so they had to give me something.
Yeah, right.
It's not like please just give me Tylenol.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't do that. Like I had to take that shit. But like getting out of there, I remember, and it was like. I had I had that bad overdose, so it was like, you know, you guys know, like when you have a bad overdose, dude, you start ODing all the time.
Oh, yeah.
It's like I never had any.
It's like,
and then
it's like concussions. Is that what it's like?
Kind of.
You know, so much you're more prone to it.
You're more prone to it. Like I had that bad one I was telling you guys about, and then after that, dude, I was dropping a lot, and then I got out of the hospital, no program, no fucking nothing, went right back to it.
Yep.
Okay, and I had another overdose.
Yeah.
And it was summertime. And I remember I had my shirt off. And I got Narcaned. The guy woke me up. And I was just like, oh. And he was just like, what the fuck, kid? Because I got a zipper. You know, the zipper on my chest.
From the surgery.
From the surgery. And this guy is like, this EMT was like, kid, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, he literally could not wrap his head around me shooting heroin a week out of being out of the hospital from open heart surgery. Like, this guy was like, what? And I was just like, I don't know, buddy. Like, I was just like, I don't know. Like, I got nothing for you, buddy. I can't fucking stop.
Yeah.
Because like this time, like, you know, I couldn't. I believed, like, I was like, I can't stop. Because, like, I skipped over a few stuff. Like, I tried the methadone clinic. I tried the Suboxone clinic. I tried the Vivitrol shot. I tried this guy fucking Dr. Kishore, his cocktail he used to give you. I don't know if you guys remember Dr. Kishore. I used to go to this guy, Dr. Kishore, and he'd give you this fucking cocktail of shit. Who, you know, you make you like you're fucking on The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Like you're a zombie.
The Finnegans. The
Yes,
Dude,
yes.
remember those?
just a gift bag of pills.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
My mother used to bring me there every morning, and this fucking lady's a saint, dude. All she did was want us to be sober, man. Like at this point in time too, because my father owns a roofing company, so we would get up in the morning. She would wake us up in the morning, and we'd stand in line, and she'd fucking put a Suboxone under our tongue, each of our tongues, and we had to sit there at the kitchen table and let them dissolve.
Yeah. Oh my God.
This is what this lady was doing for her 3 sons at this time.
Yeah.
Like that was.
And it
the
still
love of
wouldn't
a mother.
stop you.
No,
Like, you know,
no.
she'd
Listen,
like,
I'd spit that out the second I could. You know,
Yeah.
my brothers would do the same, and it was just like it was just brutal.
Yeah.
But anyways, like after that happened with that guy with the EMT, you know, I kept going. But like, you know, I was still in the Casper house. I ended up leaving the Casper house and going back to my parents' house, and you know, this is like when, you know, the fentanyl started squeaking in. You know what I mean? Like my brother Joey was like, you know, he worked every day, but like he shot heroin. He was prescribed benzos. He was prescribed Klonopins and Xanax. I don't know how that's possible, but he was. He was prescribed Johnnies, and he was prescribed Adderalls. So like he was prescribed everything.
Yep.
And we got a call from his roommate, and he's like, yeah, dude, Joey's gone. And I was like, what? And like at this time, like, dude, we were overdosing. Like, you'd get Narcaned and you'd pop up.
Yeah.
And I remember going there with my parents, fucking silence. Nobody's talking, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, you know, what's going on here? Like, he's going to be fine. Like, this ain't whatever. And we went there. Me and my father went upstairs, dude. And like this picture is burned in my brain for the rest of my life. Him dead on the floor with his fucking face down with a lighter in his hand. And then when I flipped him over, he was just all fucking purple.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And he had this weird face on it, like a weird face on, because like he was clearly gone. And you know,
Sorry for your loss.
yeah, and like that happening to me, like, guys, you think like that would fucking wake me up, okay? It did the opposite for me, man.
Yeah.
Like I didn't like when it was time for his wake. I was late. I was down in someone's basement, getting high before my brother's wake, and my parents are calling me like, "Where are you?"
Wow.
Because like I could not go there sober.
No.
I needed some beans and I needed some fucking dope
Numb as
to go in there. I
possible.
needed a numb up. I didn't want to face it. I didn't want to deal with it. Okay, so I went through that. You know, we buried my brother, and like didn't stop me. Didn't stop me at all. But at this point in time, like my younger brother started to get into the program. He got a sponsor, Paul.
Yep.
And started to do this work as far as the 12-step work that guys like I neglected this whole time. This whole story, I neglected it. Like all the meetings I went to, the halfway houses, the 5 different halfway houses that I never completed any of them. Like all these things, like East Boston Rehab, that's where I met your dad. Like all those programs I got kicked out of. I got kicked out of East Boston Rehab because a kid kept stealing my, those microwavable cheeseburgers?
Oh yeah.
White Castle?
White Castle.
No, they're not the White Castle ones.
Castle.
They have the rib one. They have the chicken sandwich one. They have the bacon cheeseburger one.
They're like the fast burgers.
Yes.
This
fucking kid.
on Main Street in Medford.
Motherfucker.
So I ended up fucking tuning him up in Maverick Square, and he called the house. He called the house
For
on
GP,
me.
on principle.
Yeah. He kept stealing and it was just one of those kids though. You'd go out for a cigarette and he'd be like, "Dude, let me get a check of that. Let me get a check." It's like, buddy, get the fuck off.
You're a bug. You're a bug.
We called him Pigeon because he was like a fucking pigeon.
Yeah, no shit, dude. Fucking Muppet.
No, I'm sorry, not pigeon, seagull.
Yeah. Oh,
like seagulls are fucking.
absolutely.
You eat a fucking Kelly's roast
Scavengers.
beef on the wall, dude. You walk away from that roast beef on the wall in Revere, your thing's gone. I got it for 1 second one time. My daughter's chicken wings.
Oh yeah.
My fingers, my fucking roast beef sandwich, dude. The seagulls attacked me.
Dude, there was a thing
2
like
seconds.
years ago, it was on the front page, I think, of the Boston Herald or something. It was a seagull. It came down. There was a baby. It tried to pick the baby up by the diaper or something. It was going after the food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It got it off the ground like a little bit, but fuck that.
I know. I got a little off
Oh, that's
topic.
a crow.
I got a little off topic, but
that's all
honestly,
right.
seeing my younger brother though, this was what planted the seed for me. Okay, after my older brother died, seeing my younger brother get well. Okay, he went into treatment, he got a sponsor, he started working steps, he started the DAA meeting in Charlestown with all those guys. And I was seeing this. I'm seeing them go to Spooky World.
This.
Yeah, I'm seeing it on Facebook while I'm in my fucking basement with some fucking
too, which is even more powerful.
He's having a kid. He's steady with work, dude. And I'm still stuck in the basement, seeing all these things on Facebook, the fellowship.
Yeah,
this is what we're talking about, the fellowship. Going out to eat. They're going to Spooky World. They're doing Six Flags. They're going up to the Bill Wilson house in Vermont.
They're living life.
They're living life, dude. And
the way it's supposed to be lived.
Yeah, and I'm downstairs by myself with fucking asking my mother for $10 for cigarettes, because I can't stop. But that right there planted the seed for me. And do I wish I did something about it? Yes, I do, but I didn't.
Yep.
And my brother ended up celebrating a year, and I remember going to the DAA meeting, fucking wrecked, by the way. And I just sit in the back, but I wanted what he had. I wanted it because it's
it looked attractive.
Exactly, because it's in my mind it was I'm a big comparer. So in my mind I'm dude, this fucking junk box, because my brother was bad.
Yeah,
I'm if this fucking kid can do it, I can do it. You know what I mean? It kind of gave me some hope
It's
because
the self-talk, which a lot of it with us is negative self-talk, but
Yeah.
at the same time we have something in us, I believe, that goes for anyone out there, that that instinct of when it's time to fight, fight or flight, and then we dig deep or whatever, and lace up, as they say, and to know that you can see, that's the dust. Don't smoke dust. Lost my train of thought there. But so I'll stop talking for a second.
No, so that was Christine Marquez for me, because my father and her were together for a while, sober, not sober, you know what I mean? And I was 16, dude, and I joke with Christine about this all the time. She's almost like a stepmother to me, because they were together for a little bit, and they're living in the Clarendon Hill projects in Somerville, and fucking jamboozled on the couch, and I'd just be smoking my weed, and I'd almost be laughing at them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And whatever, but I remember vividly being at my father's house in Dorchester, probably 6 months before he died, and my father told me I think Christine's gonna die because she was probably overdosing.
Oh yeah, I used to get high with her.
Yeah, she's the real deal.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So
trust me. Yeah.
It's sometimes it's I don't know, it's fucked up to say, but it's a good thing seeing people that are as bad as you, or if not worse,
Get well.
that can get well.
Absolutely. That for me was that spark in me.
Yep.
But unfortunately, I'm still down in the basement, and my brother came down one day. This is the day before Mother's Day, and he came, and I had one of those dab pens. You guys know like the
Yeah.
Crumble and shit. They have
Yeah,
all these
yeah,
crazy
yeah.
fucking weeds
Yeah.
now, dude. I had this thing this kid gave
Yeah,
me. It
you
was like
throw it in. And
it's
it
like
burns.
little wax
Yeah.
things. You put it in and it heats up on a coil and
Yeah,
you fucking
yeah.
hit it. Anyways, I had one of those. He came down and he hit it, and I'm like, "What the fuck you doing, dude?"
Yeah.
And he's like,
You want to fight him?
he's like, "What are you?" I'm like, "What the fuck you doing?"
First the fucking
Ye-
sliders, the cheeseburgers, fucking.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
no,
that's-
not with that. It for
Oh,
me,
yeah.
it was like, well, like, because he was been sober.
Oh,
a year.
yeah,
But he
yeah,
was
right.
like, he's like, I already fucked up, and I'm like, and like, I look back at this moment in time now, dude, where it's like, where I should have fucking stepped up and been like, you know, dude, what are you doing? Like, what the fuck? You like had so much time. Like, you have a daughter.
Yeah.
You know, you're living in Charlestown. Like, you got a nice spot. You're fucking chilling, dude.
Yeah.
You got to, you know, you're chilling. Like, what the fuck, man? I'm
Yeah.
still in the basement here with
Yeah,
nothing.
of course.
Asking Ma for fucking to make me a grilled cheese. I was like you guys ever see the Wedding Crashes?
Oh, yeah.
You know the Will Ferrell character? He's like,
Yeah.
Ma,
The
meatloaf. That was me.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
fucking me. I
He's
swear to
in
God.
the robe.
Ma,
He's in the
grilled
robe.
cheese. Like,
Ma, the meatloaf! Fuck!
I was fucking yelling upstairs to my mother at fucking 36 years old for
Yeah.
a grilled
Wow.
cheese sandwich.
Wow.
And like I
With tomato soup.
Yeah.
Fucking Sean had, yeah.
fucking give me a Ma. That was me, dude. When I see that, I fucking laugh because that was
So
me.
funny. I love that movie, dude. That movie's the best.
Yeah. So anyways, like at this point in time, I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, what I should have been like, buddy, what are you like kind of talking about? But you know what, dude? Me selfishly, I was like, I got my fucking runner partner back. Because like you said, you don't have any better runner partner than your brothers,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we fucking shared everything.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like rigs, like you name it,
Yeah,
dude. Like
of
it was
course.
like we weren't gonna fuck each other over. Like
Yeah.
you know, we had each other's backs. Like
Yeah.
that was my favorite runner partners.
Yeah.
And like in my mind at this point in time, me being still in addiction and shit,
Yeah.
dude. I'm like, I got my runner partner back,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
You know,
Like-
it's funny you say that. The thing with that is, I was thinking as you said it, in the selfishness where it's like, you know, by default, when I'm in fear or I'm consumed and I'm, you know, I just can't handle something or I feel like I can't, you know, I never even tried, then, you know, for you to be able to sit there and say, you know, that you can do it, like, you know, that you have the ability to do it or whatever. I'm glitching out, dude. I don't know. I think it's
all right.
I got a lot on my mind today, but
Yeah, no, it's all right.
yeah, it'll come back.
Yeah, no, it'll come back. So, Sean, like, you know, like a feeling of guilt, right? Because like when I lost my dad, like my first, and I'll never forget this, right? I was actually at a treatment center, dude, in the Washburn House. Shout out to the Washburn House, and they had this guy. He comes in every week. His name was Father D, right? And he was a priest, but he's a recovering addict. It was like crazy story, right? But I said to him, and I was like, dude, like, I was at my dad's house, right? And I was like probably 17. I was at his house, at his house in Dorchester, right? And like, I'm having him buy me Dutches, right? Because I'm not even 18. I'm rolling blunts. I'm fucking sniffing coke, and like, it's a sober house in Dorchester, dude. And like, selfishly, I didn't even know or give a fuck. Like, but like, I knew that he was sober because he was trying to bring me to meetings, and I knew he was doing well. That same night, like, he tried to make amends to me. And the following morning, like, he played in a hockey league in Charlestown with the ironworkers every Sunday. And, you know, my family was full of ironworkers. And he's like, Dev, let me grab you a pack of smokes. Like, I'll just buy you a pack. And I'm half asleep on his couch. And I'm just like, yeah, whatever. And then I wake up and I'm like, dude, I had like a fucking ball of coke in that pack of cigarettes. And, like, he's sober and he finds it. And then, like, you know, 6 months later, he dies. Like, I don't know whatever happened with that, but like, that's a feeling of guilt. I'm like, what the fuck was I doing, dude? Like,
That's
I
what-
should have fucking.
Yeah, Dev,
I
you were
should have
saying-
thought about someone besides myself.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, the guilt and the shame, and I was thinking the selfishness, like, you know, we try to fight it or whatnot, and that's when the ego has to kick in because you're full of shame and guilt, and that's like human nature. But like misery loves company, right? Where it's like you don't want to be that person, right? Like, because who wants to think of himself like that, right?
Yeah.
But our self-worth is so low, like there's no self-esteem being built,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And or even to receive when your dad's making an amends or like
Yeah.
someone, you can't receive it.
Yeah.
So God bless him. Like that's for, you know.
And I couldn't. I literally remember him being like, Dev, like, I know there was times like, you know, I tell you I'd be there in 5 minutes, and like you're a little boy and you're waiting outside, and I never showed up, or like bringing you to basketball practice and like I'm high as a kite, or like I'm puking on the side of the road. Like, I remember all those things, and like he was literally like sitting down trying to have a heart to heart with his son, and like I'm just busy rolling a blunt in the corner. I'm like, no, like I'm good, like I'm fine. But like deep
Yeah.
down, like I said, when I was in CHL for the first time and I got that call that he had died, I was a scared little boy, bro. I was a scared little boy, and he always said like you'd have to learn the hard way. You know what I mean? And I didn't realize what he meant till later on. But like, you know, it's just very similar to you, like relapse, the overdose, everything. And, you know, you can. So what did you say? It was Mother's Day, right?
Yeah, Mother's Day morning. So it was like, you know, and like what you said about that, like, dude, I think about that all the time. Like my reaction to like when my brother would hit that dab pen, you know?
Yeah.
And it was like, you know, that's just like the mode I was in, man. Like I wasn't like, and yeah, dude, I tell this all the time, like, dude, I don't got a fucking DeLorean to go back to fucking 2017.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
Yeah.
It's just right. Like I gotta, you know, keep living for today, you know? And
What's the saying? They say, you know, when you think of the past, it's depression. You know, you think of the future, it's anxiety. It brings on anxiety, you know, and easier said than done, you know, needless to say, but certainly, you know, something that you can practice, you know.
Yeah, so it just went on like that, and like that happened, and then it was the next morning. It was Mother's Day morning, and then just boom, I heard my mother screaming, and I was like, I fucking knew, dude. Like I didn't even have to see it, I fucking knew, and like, you know, running up there and like seeing the scene of like my poor father like beating the shit out of my brother, because like he's not a fucking EMT, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't know about the sternum rubs and like all this stuff like you can do whatever. And this guy's just trying to splash water on his face from like the tub because he's on the bathroom floor. Yeah. And like, you know, just trying to wake him up, dude. Like smacking him around, like fucking beating his lifeless body, dude. Like literally. And like, I ran downstairs. I remember like I slipped down the stairs like, and like, cause I had Narcaned down there. And I went up and I Narcaned him. Nothing happened. And then the EMTs ended up showing up like 2 minutes later. And, like, I remember them, like, shocking him and shit. And it was just, like, I remember walking around my parents' bedroom, like, is this fucking reality? Is this really happening? Like, I literally was like, am I fucking in a dream? Like, this is not happening again. Like, what the fuck? You know? But, like, sure as shit, like, you know, he passed away.
It's too heavy for someone, you know, a human being to carry that, to hold that, because it's not supposed to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So immediately go into fucking denial, you know, like you can't, there's no process in any type of reframe.
Yeah, and like, and that's where it is, like, you know, you have that happen to you, like, and it's like, you know, and like not once but twice, and I remember saying that to myself, and then like, you know, going through the process again of like going to his services and like doing all the things, but like I was fucking high still. I was still like not well. And you know, again, like trying for years, but like, I just thought I was the exception at the time. Like, I was like, dude, I've tried 100,000 times. I've done every fucking MAT. I've done everything. I've done every program. I've done 5 halfway houses. I've done it all, and I still keep fucking up. Like, I'm the exception. I'm just destined to either die or just, you know, you don't see many old heroin addicts, bro.
No, you don't.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't. Like, I've been in this, you know, doing this a little bit and like been in programs a fucking million times. Like, you don't see many fucking old heroin addicts, man.
No, you don't.
I have a question for you, Shawn.
Yeah.
And I want to word this properly, but you know, as far as like, you know, you said 16 years basically, you know, you're out there and you know, and you know, the victimization that comes along with it, you know, like that's part of it, right? That's part of addiction, right? I know for myself, and I think that, you know, we do, you know, and I talk about the ego and the pride and separate them, you know, because, you know, it's nice to be proud of things, you know, but to know the difference between when the ego, when that thing kicks in or whatever. But, you know, when we're in that mode or whatever that we don't want to be, and we're fighting a losing battle with our fucking mind, right? Because we can't stop something. We need the steps. We need all that stuff, you know. You know, do you ever think, like, you think of your, you know, I know the losses that you've had, and you know, it's very admirable, and like that shit inspires me and motivates me, and I think that, you know, they say, you know, there's a flip side, you know, they say God don't like ugly, and I also believe like God looks out for, you know, he knows who's who and what's what, and like, you know, what needs to be done, you know, and if we need to get a little slap on the wrist or whatever, you know what I mean, or a kick in the ass, like, you know, that's the type of person I want that's going to challenge me, right? Or someone that's what I want my higher power to be, you know. and that's how we learn. But do you think of like your brothers, you know, in the loss that you suffered or whatnot? Do you think that the pain that had gotten great enough? You know, obviously, that goes without saying that there's pain involved. You know, but did you use that as motivation? Like, were you able to use that, like, where you were like, you know what, fuck this, like, I'm gonna honor them. You know what I mean? I'm gonna, you know, like, this isn't, you know, my mom and dad, like, and just to me, like, there's no human force that's gonna do that. That's something greater than us, you know?
Right. And then, like, after this happening, you know, again, like, I did go to his services, fucked up, but my daughter's I got her a one of those iPads for Christmas, so she calls me on Snapchat
That's
all the
awesome.
time. She's blowing
That's
me up. She just wants to talk, and she does funny faces.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah. Anyways, so you know, and that's like, you know, again, like, you know, having a child and like, you know, being able to like be present for my niece that I'm taking them out now to the Museum of Science after I leave here. You know what I mean? Like, I do stuff with them every weekend. Like, my niece, man, is like a spitting image of my brother Nicholas, dude. Like, she makes these facial expressions, which is so eerie. But like, after all this happening, like,
It gave me goosebumps even thinking about it.
yeah, like, and it's like, you know, and that's just like me now being sober, and like, granted, like, I have all these, like, you know, what's big with me is like, people are like, oh, dude, it's fucking war stories, like, whatever. It's just like, I don't like to hold my hat on that. Like, I want to tell you how fucking bad I was, dude.
Absolutely.
That's like where I'm at, is like, I want to tell you how bad I was and like how I am now.
And remind yourself.
Yeah, and like, this is where I'm spinning into. So Paul Spencer fucking grabbed me after my brother passed away, which was he was his sponsor as well. And he's like, come to the meeting with me. I was like, dude, I've been to fucking 4,000 meetings, but like, okay. Like, I was kind of like sold and like wanted to really try, because I never really tried.
You were
guys.
trying to believe in
like all
anything.
these times and all those programs I told you about. I didn't really try. I was eating fucking Johnny, sniffing Wellbutrin, shooting steroids, fucking doing all the wrong things. The halfway house starter kit. You know what I'm saying? I was fixing all of the outside shit. You're getting the haircuts, the new kicks, all that shit.
We do. We're good at that.
And like, and you know, I can go on and on, but like thinking I could drink because I was a heroin addict, like I did all of that shit. All right, thinking I could just do Molly, that didn't work out either. But like, you know, this time around, he's like, come with me to this meeting. It was Stoneham Young People's. We sat up front, and this is right after my brother Nicholas passed away too, by the way. And he's like, raise your hand. I was not a hand raiser either. I was a guy in the back on my phone. Like, I really was that guy. You know, and you know, judging the speaker of like, the guy's the guy's been on. He said you know what I mean 100 times. He's on fucking 50. You know what I means. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
So like, that was me. But he's like, raise your hand, dude. So I raised my hand, and I explained what I just been through and like all the trials and being a drug addict for this many years, trying all these things, and I kind of just like regurgitated all this shit, and
shit that you had learned over the years, though. The truth.
Right, the truth about
honesty,
truth about myself, and like knowing deep down, like I really wasn't trying.
Well, because like you said too, like fucking a fresh zipper, open heart surgery, endocarditis, both your brothers overdosing, like that's every reason in the world for a normal alcoholic or a normal drug addict, you know, like a normal person to stop. Like the consequences, right? Like all these things.
It's all the reason in the world also to keep going, right?
Yeah, of course. Like,
which is not the answer. You know what I mean? It's not the truth,
but of course, but it fuels it. It's like a double-edged sword. You know what I mean? And like the mental obsession, the phenomenon of craving, like they say it doesn't respond to logic or reason. Like there is no reason in the world why, you know, we should even be sitting here right now, but we are, right? And like that's the power greater than yourself and part of the steps in AA.
Yeah, and trust me, Devin, like I say that to myself all the time, dude. Why me?
Yeah.
Why them? Why me? Why am I? You know what I mean?
Do you ever have survivor's guilt?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And like and that's what I do now. Like I have this experience, so it's like I want to fucking share it and like help people, dude. Like that's all I want to do, because I know anyone can do it. I don't give a fuck how bad you are. I don't care where you are. I don't care how old you are. I don't give a shit where you fucking come from. Whatever, dude. I don't care. Like wherever you are, whatever you your background, I don't give a shit about any of it. If you want to get sober and want to stay sober, you can do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
You got to just choose to fucking buck up and do what's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's like, don't do it your way.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell guys all the time. It's like, dude, stop doing it your way, because I tried it my way for 16 years and it didn't fucking work.
Yeah.
When I finally let go and let this kid Paul being like, yeah, you're going to... So I ended up speaking at that meeting. This kid, Pierce, came up to me after the meeting. He just opened up a house in fucking Haverhill. And he's like, I want you to come up to this house. I've been to 100 houses, dude. I'm like, what, whatever. Yeah. He's like, it's a 12-step house. He's like, have you ever done step work? And I said no, because I haven't. I see the 12 steps and 12 traditions behind the speaker at a meeting, but that's about as far as it got.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
cliff
saying?
Notes on it.
That's about as far as it got, you know? So I went to this house, fucking strict house. You couldn't wear sneakers. I couldn't have a hat on. Like, this was like militant fucking, like he went through the 16 house, so it was like geared like that. So it's like, went through this house.
I was like, what do you mean I can't wear my pink?
Yeah. You know what I mean? I was just like, all right, like, this is a real deal. And like, these guys are, and I had to humble myself. Like, these guys are younger than me. Yeah. And like, I'm trying to be like, oh, this kid fucking is 10 years younger than me. We actually have the same birthday. And I'm like, you know what? He's like, dude, you're a fuck up. Yeah. Like, he was real with me. Yeah. And like, no one was real with me before. He goes, dude, you're a loser. Yeah. He goes, you're a fucking loser. And I had to sit there and take it on the chin, because I was a fucking loser. Yeah. Like, I had to, like, not get mad or, like, fuck you, dude. Fucking, I'm out of here. Yeah. Like, I took it, and I'm, like, thought about it.
It has to come from the right person.
Yeah, and it was just, like, someone saying to me.
Someone that you had respect for and that was saying that to you, and you're like, oh, it's like, you cringe, but it's like, dude, like.
You're right.
You need to be hurt, because that anger, that's our first emotion. Like, that doesn't work, bro. That's our kryptonite. If anything, like, all right, now acknowledge and fucking accept that, like, dude, you're fucking hurting, you're sad, you're a fucking human being.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But like, going through this house and going through the work and going through the book or the chapters, doing my third step prayer for the first time on a fucking a beach up in Cohasset or wherever it was. And it was like, it was humbling, dude. Yeah. Like, we're all nailed down, and I'm like, dude, this is getting weird.
Holding hands,
nailing down. We're in a fucking public area. People are walking by like, what the fuck are these guys doing? You know what I mean? Were they fucking Jim Jones? Jim Jones fucking followers, dude, from a cult or some shit?
And in our head, we think, like, everyone's, like, looking at us, like, you know what I mean? Like, we're that important. And meanwhile, it's like...
Yeah, but that's just what, like, you can't have any fucks giving, dude.
Of
like,
course.
We
didn't when we were out there.
You see, like, certain people, they don't give a fuck with anyone. Like, fucking Eddie Payne, he'll pray anywhere, dude. Yeah. He'll pray in the fucking middle of the garden, dude.
You know what the best part?
Shout out to Eddie Payne.
Shout out to Eddie Payne.
He don't care, though. And I love that.
That's what I love about him. That's what attracts me to him. And I know the same for you guys, where it's like, show me who you are, right? And let me decide what to do with that, right? And I know for myself, and now you can confirm, like, and feel good about yourself, because it's like, these are the people, like, I like real. I like fucking honesty. I like genuineness. I like, vulnerability. Yeah. Like, because that's who I am, right? Yeah. As opposed to, like, fake or phony, which, like, I hate that. And the reason I hate that is because I can be that if I'm not doing the drill, right? And, like, and that feeling of, like, of course, who would like that? Who would want to be that? So yeah, it's like, I love that you just said that, about, like, just being yourself, and, like, to see people have that freedom. It's funny because on the exterior, and, like, we put on a brave face, like, we can dress the part or whatever, and, like, sometimes it's like, I think of, like, some of the worst times or whatever, right? Like, when I was using that, like, like an outfit or whatever, and you see it to this day, God bless them. But, like, when someone has the, fresh Nikes on, they get the matching outfit, and it's like, I love it, dude, right? I'm a big fan, right? Like, like, I give you one of these, but at the same time, like, I know what that is today. Yeah. And, to be able to see someone like you, it is attractive, a powerful example, whatever. And, like, that's why I said last week about, if you think your story is not important, right? Don't listen to yourself, right? Because that's the negative self-talk, right? Absolutely. Like, everyone's story matters. Everyone has a voice, whatever. Yeah. Shawn coming on today, I'm super happy. Thank you, my friend, for coming on.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
We'd love to have you back, because your story doesn't end there, and I'd love for you to get into, like, the recovery aspect and stuff like that.
Yeah, I got tons of shit. Whatever you guys.
This isn't like a one-shot deal. Like,
hey, can you tell the jet ski story real quick?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'll stop where I was at, and, like, again, You know, that's when I really started trying though. Like when the seed was planted.
Yeah.
And you know, you guys want to have me back? I got a little
100%,
ways to go. I know we got short time, but yeah. So I ended up, you know, being a drug addict of myself. I ate 8 grams of mushrooms. I was on Plymouth, White Horse Beach, and I was in my bed and I decided to go out to the beach because the sun was rising. You know, like tripping balls, dude. Like the sun rising is a pretty cool experience. So I remember laying on the beach and I was fucking doing this with my hand, like watching the trace of my hand.
Yeah.
And
you were just one with the universe.
One with the universe. And my old man had a Sea-Doo out on the buoy, and I'm like, dude, it's a fucking good idea. I'm gonna go on the Sea-Doo while the sun's coming up out of the ocean. You know, like the fucking creeping up out of the water and shit. Yeah. I'm like, dude, that's gonna be like majestic. I'm gonna fucking be like one with the earth. So I go out there, I swim out, I unhook the Sea-Doo, I jump on the Sea-Doo, I start it up, and I fucking went straight. Okay?
Gunned it.
I was doing like 60 miles an hour, just like, just going. And I was, I don't know, dude, 20 minutes. I don't know. I was tripping balls. So it's like, it could have been 20 minutes. It could have been an hour went by. I really don't remember. But it was some time. And I got out there and I ran out of gas. It went, and I was like, the sun's up now anyways. Like, because I was just driving like, just like watching the sun, dude, like fucking zoned out. And it runs out of gas. And I remember when it ran out of gas, I was like, fucking no land in sight, dude. I was already turned around. You guys know, like everything looks the same. I don't even know which way I came from. Even if I could get it started, I don't even know which way I came from. But sitting there trying to start this thing for like an hour, the sun's up. And I'm getting fucking hot. It's like a hot day. It's Memorial Day or Labor Day. I can't remember which one of those holidays it was. But I'm sitting there fucking sweating my balls off. You know, the tripping's kind of going away. But I remember jumping off the Sea-Doo to like cool up. And just like in my head, Jaws is coming to fucking grab me from the dark waters, dude, and rip my leg off or something. So I'm climbing on this Sea-Doo like Jaws is like, and I'm like fucking climbing on. And I get on the back. I climb back on. And I'm sitting there for like 4 hours, dude. And I see a boat finally, dude. I see a boat. And I'm like, hey, fucking, wow. And they're like, hey, yeah, woo. I'm like, no, fucking stop. Like, help. And they just went by.
He's like fucking Tom Hanks on
I'm like,
Castaway.
yeah, I'm like, this is not real. Like, I'm gonna end up drinking seawater and shit. Like, you know what I mean? It's been fucking, like, half the day's over. It's like, I was steamrolling over fucking anybody.
Yeah, of course.
You know, when I was deep in it, dude. I didn't care about anybody or anything, dude. And you know, and that's where it comes in. Like now, it's like I have awareness around that. And it's like I know someone mentioned earlier about like writing your 4-step or like, you know, these character defects and like wanting to be seen as, and like that's how I was, like wanting to be liked by everybody.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Like I want everybody to like me. If you don't like me, why? What is it? What can I change?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what can I change?
Especially in our neighborhoods, you know. And
and it's
very,
like what can
cliquey,
I do?
Very judgmental, very you know. It's
I'm like, what can I do for you to like me? Like I just don't like you. You're a scumbag. Whatever. Like, all right. Well, what can I do? But you know, again, like now, like living how I live and like, you know, being available and like present and like fucking, you know, with 5 years, dude, it's like, you know, I don't, you know, people say it all the time, like, do you ever think about getting high? And it's like, dude, did I like getting high? Did I like getting jammed? Fuck yeah, I did. Yeah. I'm not denying the fucking fact I like getting jammed, dude. Yeah. But like, I hated everything that came with it.
Of course.
Everything that it fucking came with, dude. No money, being in detoxes, fucking my parents being like upset with me, losing jobs, like fucking all the shit that came with it, dude. It's just not worth it. Yeah. And like and what I think about now, it's like, dude, I got jammed enough for fucking 10 lifetimes.
Yeah.
I tested those waters. And like they're just not for me anymore, man. Like you know, I'm here to fucking live and like be a good dad and just you know, wanting to help people, dude. Because it's like I feel like I'm good at what I do with guys is because like I've been there, dude. Yeah. Like, I've been there. I fucking know what it's like to be day 2 in
100%.
detox or like day 2 in a PHP, uncomfortable in a sober living house with fucking 10 guys. And like, you know, I had all those experiences, dude.
And you have that compassion and empathy, you know, and again, your parent, you know, those morals, values, principles that were instilled in you. It's like when you allowed them to come back out, right? You know, when you decided to like make that change, whatever. then that's when you know, it all came back. You know what I mean? Like those things are in you. Like that's what we were talking about the other day.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think there was a podcast. Fat Joe was on Joey Molino's podcast and talking about jealousy. And like I said it to Devin, and on there he said like the kid Little Snuff, he was saying like I don't understand that, like like the people that would be jealous like would be like some of the closest people to me, and like, you know, they wouldn't, and I just don't understand. I said, right, that resonates with me because I feel like, you know, as human beings, like, yeah, we all experience that, or like, you know, be jealous, but in, you know, off the top of my head, I think to myself like I don't like myself, like I'm in my head so much, like, you know, I have been, where I don't give a fuck what anyone else is doing. I'm not thinking of anyone else. You know what I mean? So like, I never even had time to be jealous, or like, I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to, you know, I want, and I feel like that's in people, and you know, something that, you know, seeing you or whatever. And I think that's what it's all about. And like that energy is real. It's pertinent, you know, and to see, you know, you do help people. You help a lot of people, and you know, it's admirable. It's you know, it motivates and inspires me, you know. And
it just, you got to go through shit. Like, it's not, it's uncomfortable to get sober, dude.
Right.
And like, it is. It's like, but like, what do you expect? You get high for 10 years. Like, my first sponsor said this to me, like, dude, you run in the woods for 10 years and you turn around. You think you're going to walk back for a week and be fine?
Yeah.
No, dude, no, you're not. It's not going to happen. Like, you got to go through that shit. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. And like, I'm a firm believer of this. And like, and someone told me this, and you know, it's just like, it too shall pass. Yeah.
Yes.
And like, I say that to myself all the time, dude. Whether I'm feeling down, whether I'm feeling blue, like whatever, dude. And
it's temporary.
Yeah. It too shall pass. You know what I mean? Like, everyone has bad days, dude. Even the normies out there, like, it's not like we're just so used to fucking getting high when we have a bad day. We're getting high when we have a good day too. But like, when we have a bad day in recovery, you're like, I get high, I'll feel better. But how are you gonna feel tomorrow?
Exactly.
And that's where, like, I tell people, like, dude, and I've had these experiences myself. How do I feel tomorrow? I feel like a shitbag that next day. After getting high, after, like, you know, have maybe a little time and relapse.
Really.
Because like, you know, I told you about all these halfway houses that I never completed any of them because I got kicked out of all of them. Because I was always getting high or fucking fighting or some shit.
And I think that, you know, one of the things that attracts me to you is like that you're so passionate about it. And I think of, like, I tell people, it's like, for so long, like, you know, living that lie, not even knowing you were, you know, playing a character that you didn't even know that you know, were playing. And then like to there's something about, you know, there's something to be said about the truth, right? And like, and I see that passion in you, you know. And then I see Dev, and I'm like, I think of the younger guys, whatever, where it's like, you know, it's very rare, but like, you know, I know Devin, like, he learns from, you know, he's had his own losses, his own, you know, his own trauma, his own like suffering and stuff like that, has done his own research, but at the same time, he learns from other people, you know what I mean? And like, you know, that's that right there. Like, it makes me feel good because, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you genuinely do, like, you talked earlier about when your brother came down and hit that dab pen, and like, you know, your first thought, like, and you think back and you still feel like that guilt and shame. It's like, that's because you're a good dude, right? That's because you have a fucking heart, bro, right? And like, but also to be able to let it go, but to acknowledge, like, I will be that monster, I will be that animal, I will be that fucking, you know, the dark fucking side of me. You know what I mean? If I do, you know, if I live like that, and also to know that you've, like, I feel the same way. I don't have reservations. I feel like I've lived, you know, I feel like I've lived 9 lives, you know. And I you know, I don't feel like I'm missing anything, you know. But and to see, you know, Devin, like, that's why, you know, whatever it takes, but like, to be able to be inspired by people that are doing the right thing, people that are, like, you know, learning from their mistakes, and you know, it's a wonderful thing. And we hope that, you know, anyone out there, you know, that it resonates with you guys, that you know, because you're worth it. And with that, Dev, you want to wrap this up, brother?
Yeah, we'll wrap it up. Sean, grateful to have you come, dude. You got a very powerful story you want to send the poster?
Yeah.
Any last words for that?
Yeah, well, I just got one more thing that I always say to everybody, and it's like, I'm a firm believer in this, and I say it, fucking all these guys that I work with me, like, they always text me this: keep your foot on the gas. Like, keep your foot on the fucking recovery gas. Like, doing the things, doing the you know, your AA, doing your step work, you're working with a sponsor. Like, keep your foot on the gas.
Routine.
And
like,
hit him with the lace up, Sean. Hit him with the lace up.
And then fucking, yeah, buddy, lace up.
Lace up, baby.
Let's go.
We need you. Yeah, need your John Hancock, baby.
Yeah.
Can I put it?
You can do whatever you want.
Grab it. Yeah.
Yeah, just easier.
Yeah. That's such
Thank
an
you, my
Italian
friend.
signature right there. That's
Sean,
awesome.
love you, buddy.
Love you too, buddy. Thanks for having me,
Yeah,
guys.
thanks,
Dev.
brother.
Thank
Love you, dude.
Love you too,
Dev.
buddy. Thank you.
My man.
Another one down, brother.
Another one down.
All right, guys, stay
Let's
tuned.
go.
We got big things coming. You know, it's only going to get better from here. And again, we thank Sean. So with that, you know, lace up or lay down. Peace out.
Let's go.